everybody, I'm Mars Girl and welcome to another episode of Seeing Sentai. This is episode 2 and we're going to be talking about episodes 8 through 14. So the last episode was probably the longest one you're going to see, at least for a while. This one hopefully will be a little bit shorter because we've already established who the characters are, who the core bad guys are, what it is they want to do, kind of. I guess they want to destroy stuff for an unspecified purpose, whatever. We still don't have a more specific purpose at this point in time. So if this is your first time watching along with me or seeing this vlog, to explain one more time what the purpose of this is, I am watching an episode of a Sentai series just one day at a time. One day I'll watch an episode and I'll keep going to the next episode the next day, and at the end of the week I'll just vlog about what it is I've been watching. So we've been watching Himitsu Sentai Goranger, and currently I've finished up to episode 14 out of 84. So yeah, we still have another 70 episodes to go. This is going to take a while. Actually, to go back before I start talking about what happened in these last few episodes, somebody asked, oh, how long is it going to take you to get to Jetman at this rate? Yeah, let's not kid ourselves. If I never miss a single day and I never stumble, which, let's face the facts, that's probably not going to happen, but if I am perfect forever, I will not get to Jetman, which is like halfway through Sentai, until approximately October 27th, 2016. So, yeah, this is going to take a very, very long time. So, what I'm hoping is that this gets me producing content constantly, and will also kick my butt into doing other content that I should have been doing a really long time ago. Also, to just remind folks, we have our Farewell FamiKamen Writer movie coming up, airing on April 15th. That's in just a few more days. Live over at twitch.tv/MarsGirl, and then it's going to come up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MarsGirl, and that is our tribute movie for Ju Wario, who made his fan FamiKamen Writer character. So that having been said, I bring that up to kind of say that movie has kind of gotten in my way of producing a lot of other things that I've wanted to produce. But this is something that's easy, kind of easy to swallow, and easy for you guys to follow and keep up with. That having been said, let's actually talk episodes. I won't spend a whole lot of time talking about each and every episode, but I will point out a few really fun or funny or interesting things that I'm kind of noticing along the way. Now, in episode 8, we had a monster by the name of Poison Fang Mask, and he let out deadly snakes and stuff. Kind of a goofy villain, but really a lot of these monsters are kind of goofy. The point I want to bring up with this particular episode is that it introduces some foreign actors, and the main character dude that you're kind of following around and that the Black Cross Army is attempting to assassinate in this episode is just kind of a generic white guy. They never say what country he's from, just that he is a foreigner. And that he's a foreign dignitary who's won a Nobel Peace Prize for great works doing things with foreign people. They don't really specify exactly what. And he has a daughter, and had a daughter with a Japanese woman, and he's come back trying to re-establish a relationship with his daughter. And really, the story is kind of sweet to a certain extent. For the most part, the story is fine, but I bring this up because I think it's really interesting to note just the really small, really not all that harmful, but still there, kind of this very light xenophobia that comes out of this episode. And I say that, like I said, it's almost not harmful, like nobody is mean and nobody is rude, but they reference this guy like, oh, we don't care what country he comes from, he's just white foreigner. He's visiting who we can presume was his wife's grave, who has a Japanese given name and a white last name, and the Gorangers come and they look at this grave that he is stopped at, and they go, why would a foreigner want to visit a Japanese person's grave? And it just kind of, it doesn't hit them that the man could have possibly fallen in love with a Japanese woman or conceived a child with a Japanese woman. Like, that thought doesn't even cross their mind. And then when you finally meet his daughter, they have to kind of plead with her, because in the middle of the episode, the dude gets bitten by a poisonous snake, and they have to go and find some anti-venom for him. I say poisonous, I really mean venomous. So he's been bitten by this venomous snake. He's got to have this anti-venom given to him, and the daughter hasn't seen him in 15 years, and is like, well, I don't care if he lives or dies. So they have to plead to her, well, don't think of it like it's your father you're trying to save by calling out to him and asking him to wake up and be okay. Think of it more like, if you help save his life, think of all the other foreigners you could be saving by saving this important man. And that kind of sticks out to me, like they had to address it not that he could save the lives of people, but specifically foreigners. They phrase it, if you could save even just one foreigner's life, as if to say that the only people who are not Japanese people, the only people that non-Japanese people could possibly care about are other non-Japanese people. And it's not especially rude, it's just really interesting to think about, because this is a super homogenous country, and then especially in 1975, you still got some hangover of people still living through post-war trauma, and only barely at this point are people kind of starting to consider, hey, we can have good foreign relationships with one another, and for some people, that's even still true in Japan today, that there's this lingering idea of, well, only Japanese people can work with Japanese people, and if you're a foreigner, or if you're even half-blooded, half-Japanese, and half-foreign, they call themselves halflings, then you're not even considered Japanese. It's still kind of a problem in Japan, and I think it was interesting to discuss, and I know I'm going on about this, and I know, like, everything I'm seeing was so small, but it's kind of hard to ignore, and it's just kind of an interesting topic that managed to seep its way through a 1975 Japanese children's television show. I want to talk only briefly about some of these other monsters. Most of the monsters, for the most part this past week, have kind of been okay. There was Witch Mask, who made sense. She was, a witch with a big old witch head, and she rode on a flying broom, and she was able to do magic and stuff. That was kind of cool. Wing Mask was kind of weird. He had big old wings on the side of his head, and then he could throw his wings off of his head as if they were boomerangs, but they didn't come back to him, so I guess they're not really like boomerangs. Silver Heat Mask made sense. He was kind of threatening. He kind of looked more like an ant, or maybe a firefly or something, very insect-like with very bug-like eyes that actually acted a lot more like solar panels. So he would absorb the sun, and then he would have the ability to really torch things for like an hour. So, it wasn't an especially good solar panel because he only had enough energy for like an hour, but for 1975, I guess that's not so bad. So and let me tell you, that particular episode, he was in fact torching things. Innocents were killed, like Tokyo was burning to the ground, and Tokyo's had fires before. And they used what I'm assuming is news footage, and you can just see burning buildings just going up in flames, and you're like, oh my god, the terror here looks really real, because they're actually using footage of buildings going up in flames. So that guy was kind of scary and kind of threatening. Horn Mask was kind of a threatening dude. He would send out people who were controlled by computer to kind of march up to different important Eagle locations and then self-destruct. So they are kind of suicide bombers, except I imagine if they're being controlled by computer, they really have no sense of self, and so they're not going in there doing it themselves of their own free will. And this episode and a number of these other episodes, so many eagle branches just go up in smoke, and so many people are shot and killed. Like, all of these eagle agents, I'm really kind of wondering, like, how do you keep enlisting all of these Eagle agents? Because, like, I thought all the Eagle branches were destroyed, but they keep coming up with more, and Black Cross Army keeps destroying them. And at this point, I'm wondering what it is that Eagle even does, because they say that Eagle is meant to keep the peace around the world, but I never actually see them do that. I just kind of see them get their asses handed to them. One person on Twitter suggested that they're worse than red shirts in Star Trek, and I'm kind of starting to believe him, because these guys are dying in droves. And then this last episode I actually just watched earlier today involved Skull Mask, who, that whole episode was pretty creepy, had good atmosphere actually. That was one of the better told stories I've seen in this series up until this point, where Skull Mask kind of chills inside of a coffin for the majority of the episode, and then sends out invitations to a party on record, and he sends them out to these really important people, and it's like imagine if the Hypnotoad from Futurama was just audio only, and this record will hypnotize the dude that he's trying to hypnotize, then he thinks he's got to go out to a party, but when he goes out to this party, Skull Mask pulls an Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and he replicates the dude that he's kidnapped. So like this one guy runs a power plant, and so the dude replicated the dude's body. Skull Mask replicates dude's body who works over at the nuclear power plant, and then goes to the power plant the next day because now he looks like the dude who has access to the power plant, and he threatens to blow the place up. Pretty smart. Good creepy atmosphere to that episode. That was one of the very few episodes where Daita, the Yellow Ranger, actually does not eat any food. Although that's not for his lack of trying, because, you know, he tries to eat the food that's in front of him at this party that he infiltrates, but as it turns out, all of the food is kind of imaginary, like Hook imaginary from the movie Hook. Like, the food's not even there, except in the place of where food should be, it's a whole bunch of bones and skulls and body parts and all this stuff, and so he, like, can't eat it. So he tried to eat, but he actually did not eat. The episode was pretty good, though. In fact, they used Goranger Storm, as always, at the end of that episode on Skull Mask. And Skull Mask does the smartest thing I think I've ever seen a monster do, and that's try and hit the ball back at the Gorangers. Like, ha! You think you're gonna blow me up? Well, screw you, suckers! And knocks it back like a friggin' baseball, using his stick that he's got as a weapon. But then Red Ranger, Aka Ranger is like, nope, I'm kicking it back again, and I guess he couldn't defend himself from a second kick, and that's when he exploded and died. But that was kind of impressive. In fact, a lot of the fights have gotten really quick. The editing has been much better, the choreography has been much better, and the Goranger Storm has been much better executed. Interestingly enough, there's one episode, I can't remember exactly which episode it took place in, where only 3 members of the Gorangers attempted to do Goranger Storm, and it actually failed. Granted, you knew it was gonna fail, because 1, there were only 3 of them doing it, and 2, it was right at the beginning of the episode, and it's like, well, he's not gonna die. Not now. He's not gonna die until the end of the episode. But that was just kind of an interesting twist on things. But I bring up these monsters, and I skipped one of them. And the one of them I skipped, like, I can't get over him. I cannot get over this guy. I'm gonna start by giving you the name of this monster, and then let you, if you haven't seen the episodes, try and figure out what exactly he is and what he does. And the name of this monster is Boat Ear Mask. I'm gonna give you a second. I'll just wait. Okay, so Boat Ear Mask. Like I've had to sit here and contemplate. Like, I couldn't sleep. This guy bothered me so much because boat. Okay, boat. He has 2 of them. There's 2 boats, and they're his ears, right? And they barely look like boats. Like they're supposed to be gondolas or something, and they're really big and floppy and made out of really cheap materials and gold spray paint. And they're his ears, so Boat ear, and it's on his mask, okay? And he carries an oar as his weapon, like a boat oar for paddling, and like, why? And I'm like, what does he do? What are his abilities? What could boats for ears possibly do to help this person? Well, it turns out that Boat Ear Mask, he can kind of hear. He hears things really well. He does that a couple of times. So I guess having big ears is a good thing. But I don't understand why they had to be boats though. But then that's like not always what he does. And his being able to hear really well had nothing to do with the plot of the episode. So like his weapon is this oar, and the oar shoots bullets, and I don't know why. None of these abilities have anything to do with the plot of the episode, because the dude kidnaps a scientist guy who apparently knows how to make antimatter, so he could make an antimatter bomb if he really wanted, but he's not going to make the scientist make an antimatter bomb. No, he's going to try and extract the dude's memories, which could possibly kill the scientist, and using those memories, he too will now have the knowledge of how to make an antimatter bomb. And I'm just like, what does that have to do with having enormous boats for ears and an oar that shoots bullets? Like, what is even the point? And I'm just like, Toei, what were you doing? 1975 Toei, what were you doing? What were your dudes even thinking that day when you needed to come up with a monster? And it was like, well, we've got monsters for the next few weeks, and they're pretty good, but we've run out of ideas. What do? We've run out of materials, we've run out of money. What do we have lying around? We got a dartboard or something. We're gonna pull names out of a hat, just words. We're just gonna throw words into a hat, and then we're gonna combine these words together, and then we're gonna make a monster out of it, and we're just gonna have to work with it. We're just gonna have to work with it because we have no money. Our writers took a strike, or he was out sick that day. He was taking care of a sick, dying family member. That is the only reason I can possibly think of to create a monster like Boat Ear Mask. I know you guys in Power Ranger fandom or Kamen Rider fandom we got bad monsters, right? We all know Starfish Hitler. That's weird. That's funny. But there is no point to the existence of Boat Ear Mask. I can't even say the name Boat Ear Mask and not just want to laugh at the idea of there being a monster by the name of Boat Ear Mask. If I'm not outwardly explaining who Boat Ear Mask is and what he does, I can't even think of why he should exist. He shouldn't exist. He's stupid, he looks stupid, he does stupid things, and he's not even good at what he does. He wasn't good at it. He didn't even come close to succeeding. He was the worst monster ever. And for some reason, Black Cross Army employed him. I mean, I guess there's a reason why he died, but he dies just like everybody else dies. He lasted just as long as everybody else. Just why? Boat Ear Mask. Aside from that, the writing has been relatively good these last few episodes. Aside from Boat Ear Mask. There's an episode, for example, where one of the other agents who works at the Snack Gone Cafe, the restaurant where their headquarters sits below, one of the other Eagle agents, 007, she always has her little brother running around in the restaurant, and so they're out there having a picnic. Ironically enough, she's wearing a Dallas Cowboys long-sleeve shirt, and so I couldn't take my eyes off the Dallas Cowboys logos all over the sleeves and up in the breast corner of the shirt. And she tries to save her brother from Black Cross Army, and in order to do that, she unfortunately has to trick the Gorangers for a short period of time. And Red just lays into her so hard, where do your loyalties lie? And she's just so depressed, I wanted to save my brother, but now I've let down the Gorangers and I've let down Eagle. And Peggy comes in and she's like, man, you were way too harsh on her, what's your problem, man? And Red's like, I also lost my sister to the Black Cross Army. And he walks away and you're like, oh my god, that was kind of a bomb to drop. I kind of wish we got a little more of that backstory, but that kind of gives, you know, just that much more insight on who the character of the Red Ranger actually is, like why he has so much more riding on it than just, these guys are bad, we are good, and we fight now. I really liked that, and I hope there's more character development like that for the other Rangers to come. I'm still kind of waiting for a Blue-centric episode. Like, the most Blue-centric we've gotten thus far is at one point in the middle of the fight, of some particular fight, Blue got himself stuck in a net, and then that net got pulled all the way up to a bridge. And then he got dropped from that bridge, and then boom, just slammed into the ground. Bam! And he just is knocked out, and you have to assume that he shattered just about every single bone in his body. But by the end of the episode, he just kind of gets up like, oh, they need me, and he just says, well, I decided to leave the hospital. Because you can just decide to get up and walk away after you've broken almost every bone in your body after being dropped off a bridge. I would still like to see more out of Blue. But that, I think, is going to do it for this particular vlog of this past 7 episodes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more. I think there has been pretty good writing and pretty good story development thus far, and it has just kind of gotten better, and the battles have gotten better, and there's been better choreography and everything, and I'm excited to watch the next 70 episodes, really. If you are keeping up with me, then that's totally cool. I'm glad that you're doing that with me because it's fun to do it with other people. If you're looking for English subtitled shows or episodes from Goranger, I don't really feel secure in telling you where to go to get those. I can tell you that they exist. Granted, not 100% of the series exists. So you can go after it, and really it's not that hard to find. Although, there are legal options to viewing the series. You can legally buy DVDs of Goranger. Now granted, they will not be subtitled. They will be Japanese only and Japanese region. But if you have A, the money, B, a DVD player that's going to play Japanese region DVDs, and C, the ability to understand kind of what's going on in the episodes without the subtitles, or you manage to find some other soft subs somewhere that you can play along with them, then fantastic. I say go for it and do it. It's definitely worth it. So I'm still working on getting the back end of MarsGirlProductions.com taken care of. Still can't update it the way that I want to update it, and it's sadly just kind of sitting there not doing anything. But you can come to marsgirl.tumblr.com, and that's where you can read kind of my backlog of every single day. I'm writing an episode synopsis and personal feelings on each and every single episode. So go ahead and follow me there, and we can kind of be watching the series and understanding the series together. And thank you once again to all of my Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. You guys, of course, are in the end credits, and if you also want to be in the end credits, go ahead and also come over to patreon.com/MarsGirl. We'll see what we can do to get you hooked up with that, or any of the other perks that you might like there on that list. For example, this vlog, Patreons got to see it a day, likely a day or more before you did, so it really pays to be a Patreon. So that's gonna do it for this episode of Seeing Sentai. I'm MarsGirl, and I'm gonna be seeing you guys once again next week. Boat ear mask!